Hey, what's good, YouTube? Today we're gonna react to Blackie Speaks Why Millions of Songs Disappear from TikTok. He gonna be talking about the UMG removing their music off TikTok and shit. But let's get into the reaction.
I appreciate you. Hope you're doing good. So today I want to have a little conversation about some things that are going on in the music industry right now. So if you guys don't know, okay, if you haven't heard this recent news, Universal Music Group, which is the biggest record label in the entire world, which owns the
Facts.
largest share of the market when it comes to both physical and digital products in the music industry with 32%, they just pulled
That's
all of
wild.
their music from TikTok. So I want to check out this article that Billboard wrote about this story, and I want to give you my take on it and kind of tell you exactly what this means in the grand scheme of things. So this is the article. Taylor Swift, Drake, BTS music may leave TikTok this week as UMG licensing negotiations collapse. Now, this has already happened at the time of me recording this, by the way. So if you go to TikTok right now and you try to use any sounds from, let's say, Taylor Swift or Drake, who they're both under the UMG umbrella, it's going to say either not available or it's going to say that this content is copyrighted, so it's not going to work. Continuing with the article, in an open letter, the music giant has accused the wildly popular platform of trying to build a music-based business without paying fair value for the music. Universal Music Group, UMG, says it will pull its entire music catalog from TikTok when its contract with the service expires on Wednesday, accusing the platform of trying to build a music-based business without paying fair value for the music, according to new open letter. In the letter, released Tuesday, January 30, and addressed to UMG artists and songwriters, the company states that it's particularly concerned about the rates that TikTok is offering to pay for its catalog. Other points of contention include the amount of content on TikTok that infringes its artists and songwriters' works without providing meaningful solutions to help them combat it, the level of hate and harassment on the platform.
But I was thinking, like, don't this hurt like artists that need like the TikTok and shit to boost a song? Because some of these artists, bro, like, bro, they fucking need TikTok, bro, to fucking even get traction and shit. So and fucking engagement. So it's like some of these artists need that shit. So it's like isn't it gonna hurt like them that fucking need it? But it's like this is great for like independent artists and shit because bro, it's less people that you have to compete against, bro, on TikTok, bro. Like for the independent artists, they don't gotta compete against the artists that have like the deals and the fucking budget to fucking market themselves and shit. Now the fucking independent artists got more what's it called, like less competition now when it comes to terms of the music shit, and they can just literally just promote this shit like it's fucking SoundCloud or some shit, bro. So hey, I don't know.
TikTok's stance on artificial intelligence AI.
Because I would
The article
assume it would
continues, it
hurt the
says, with
artist,
respect to the issue
if
of
anything.
artist and songwriter compensation, TikTok proposed paying our artists and songwriters at a rate that is a fraction of the rate that is similarly situated major social platforms pay, the letter reads. And then the article says, also according to UMG, during the negotiations, the ByteDance-owned social giant demanded a contractual right which should allow all AI content to massively dilute the royalty pool for the human artists while developing tools to enable, promote, and encourage AI music creation on the platform itself, which UMG states is nothing short of sponsoring artists' replacement by AI. In the letter, UMG continued by claiming that when it proposed that TikTok take similar steps as our other platform partners to try to address these issues, it responded with indifference and then with intimidation. As our negotiations continued, TikTok attempted to bully us into accepting a deal worth less than the previous deal, far less than fair market value and not reflective of their potential growth. How did it try to intimidate us? By selectively removing the music absurd of our developing artists while keeping on the platform our audience driving global stars. And then the article continues and says if UMG pulls its catalog, it would affect all music distributed and administered by its record music division as well as Universal Music Publishing Group. The company's roster includes such megastars as Taylor Swift,
Damn, that's a
BTS,
lot,
Drake,
bro.
Ariana Grande, The Weeknd, Lady
That's
Gaga,
a
Lana
lot.
Del Rey, Billie Eilish, Eminem, Nicki Minaj, Justin
God
Bieber,
damn.
Karol G, and Post Malone. So this list is pretty extensive.
Yeah.
It's sad and
That's
disappointing that Universal Music Group has put their own
that's a
greed
deep
above the
list.
interest of their artists and songwriters, said TikTok in a statement sent to Billboard. So TikTok responded to this, right? Despite Universal's false narrative and rhetoric, the fact is they have chosen to walk away from the powerful support of a platform with well over 1 billion users that serves as a free promotional and discovery vehicle for their talent. TikTok has been able to reach artists' first agreements with every other label and publisher. Clearly, Universal's self-serving actions are not in the best interest of artists, songwriters, and fans. So let's break this down a little and talk a little bit about what this actually means. So Universal Music Group, for anyone who doesn't know, is the parent company to a lot of the major labels in the music industry.
Yeah.
So some of UMG's subsidiaries include Capitol
Atlantic
Music Group, Def Jam, Island Records, Motown Records, Virgin Music, and the list goes on. All these record labels being under UMG means that UMG in the end controls their
Everything.
music.
Yeah.
And any artist who's signed to these major labels means that in the end they're also going to be affected by this move right here. And we're not just talking about artists, we're also talking about songwriters and producers and anyone who's really worked on a record that's owned by the parent company that is UMG. And TikTok, like a lot of you guys know, is one of the most influential tools in the music industry right now. All these super big artists like Taylor Swift and Drake, they're not really going to be affected by this because of their status and the level that they're at. However, there's a lot of artists who are signed to some of these other major labels, which is owned by UMG, and they now had all their music pulled from one of the most influential tools in music. And this practically happened overnight. I mean, they announced it, and then literally like a day or two later, all the music that UMG owns has now been pulled from TikTok. So this is kind of major, especially since UMG has a market share of 32%. I mean, that's literally a third of all the music being produced by the industry that they own and have full control of. And now, because they're not getting their way in this negotiation with TikTok, they said, you know what? We're going to pull all the music because we're not getting what we want. And that's what all this comes down to. Money, okay?
Of course.
Since TikTok has to be granted a license to use all this music on their platform, everything is all dependent on what happens during that negotiation between UMG and
always
TikTok.
about money.
Now, this is good for who? Well, this is great news for anyone who's not under this UMG umbrella or any artist out
less
there
competition,
who's
man.
Because that means that TikTok, overnight, okay, literally a third of all your competition on TikTok has now disappeared. Because consumers want to use what? They want to use these songs on TikTok in their videos, and now that all their favorite music is gone, they're gonna have to replace it with something. And this is when the independent artist comes into the equation. Because now you can take advantage of that if that's you. And also, for as long as UMG keeps their music off of TikTok, I think this is actually going to affect a lot of these, viral trends where, people are dancing to like a song and then they have the music in the background. Because since UMG owns a third of the market share, now a lot of the music that was on TikTok just 48 hours ago is suddenly gone. And this is definitely going to lessen the quantity of that viral material that we always see, at least during this period right here. Now, specifically regarding this move that UMG made, personally, I'm not sure how long it's actually going to last. And I say that because a big part of why a lot of musicians in this era are popping is because of TikTok.
Yeah.
And a lot of those musicians are under this UMG umbrella. So UMG, even though they're saying, hey, we're getting underpaid and we're not getting adequate amount of compensation from TikTok, in the end, I think that they're really going to try to come to terms with a negotiation with TikTok so they can license this music on their platform. Because a lot of the artists who are on these subsidiaries, which is in the end owned by UMG, they're going to have a very hard time promoting themselves now, and that in the end affects UMG. Now, with that being the case, UMG actually has a lot of leg room to hold out, and that's because they pulled in over $10 billion in revenue in 2022, and TikTok only makes up about 1% of the company's total revenue. I also think that they might be working on some kind of deal with Instagram, because Instagram Reels are kind of like the new TikTok in a lot of ways. I wouldn't be surprised if there's something like that going on behind the scenes. In the end, though, the only person who loses here is the artist, because imagine being under one of UMG's subsidiaries, and then you wake up one day and then boom, all your music is suddenly gone from TikTok. These two companies, TikTok and UMG, they coexist in a space, the music industry, which ultimately benefits both of them. So ultimately, it'll benefit them to come to an agreement. UMG is obviously playing some kind of power move, which I don't really think is gonna last for too long. At the end of the day, all these artists who are under the UMG umbrella, they need their music to be available on TikTok, which in the end will benefit UMG. So they're gonna come to an agreement sooner or later. I do think this definitely opens the door for independent artists to, like, right now put your music in front of as many people as you can on TikTok
Capitalize
if you use
now.
the app. Because once all this music that's been pulled from TikTok is back on the app, well, let's just say that a third of your competition is back in action. Anyway,
Facts.
any thoughts on this conversation related to the biggest record label in the entire world pulling all their music from TikTok? Curious to hear what you have to say about this. If you're an artist, what do you think about this? Because this obviously is something that affects.
Hey man, Blackie Speak just basically said everything that I said basically. Like, hey, your best time is now. Hey, they might work out a deal later, but as an independent artist, your best time is now. Cause like, bro, your competition is basically cut in half, bro. So it's like this is the best time to capitalize on the situation. Cause like, bro, you're not being overshadowed by fucking people who already fucking signed to like major deals and shit and have a budget to like, push their content out. So it's like, bro, this the best time is now, bro, to put out your music and shit and capitalize for the independent artists. Hey, fire video from Blackie Speaks, but like, comment, subscribe, suggest anything else to interact to, down below in the comments. But check out and next one.